So can everybody see my screen there? Gives a quick thumbs up. Anybody? No, everybody's disappeared. Yeah, David's back again. Sweet. That was great actually, and it was interesting to reflect on some of the things that we do with that in mind, with Kelly's presentation in mind. Syncs a lot. Unfortunately, you guys are going to be evaluating everything that I present now based on that criteria, which is pretty hard. So hey, I'm Giles. I'm the CMO at What3Words. I've been there for about 6 years now, and What3Words is a very simple way to talk about a location, because the world is actually really quite badly addressed. And talking about a specific location can be quite problematic. So places like this, in the middle of a wood or a forest, trying to describe that location to someone is quite challenging. You could go to a map site, say Google Maps, and type in the name of the place that you want to go. The challenge there is that the pin will drop in the center of the building. And Harrods, as you probably know, has multiple entrances and exits, depending on whether you're a consumer or a delivery driver or staff or whatever. So if you're trying to find a specific one, that's quite frustrating if you're an individual. If you're a delivery person, you can't get to the right entrance. That becomes really expensive and takes a lot of time if you're doing it hundreds of times a day. And if you're a first responder, actually the implications can be far more significant. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop on chat. So if anybody's got any questions, I can see them too. Okay, cool. There we go. And then if you start to think about devices of the future, voice input, getting into a car and trying to direct it, there's a huge amount of ambiguity. There's 14 church roads within a 10-mile radius of where I'm sitting right now. Or you've got incidents like this where you say, I'd like to go to Lawn Road, and the car can't differentiate between the two. And because they're so close, you've got no way of knowing. And that holds true pretty much everywhere. It's really difficult to understand the difference between 241st Street and 241st Street, especially when they're so close to each other. So addressing is broken. Street addressing doesn't cover everywhere, but there is something that does, and that is GPS coordinates, latitude, longitude. Super accurate, cover the entire planet, but they're incredibly difficult to use. Does anybody know how to do the little degree sign on their phone? I've been working with What3Words. It took me 5 years to work it out. You have to press and hold the 0, and it will turn into a. So you just don't see people do this sort of stuff. And dropping a pin is fine on certain circumstances, but you can't say it. So if you're a business that wants to move things or move people, say you're a delivery company or a ride-hailing company, or you're a business that wants to locate people, say a government, or locate things, so a travel company, then an address is fundamentally important for your business to improve customer experience or save money. So what we've done at What3Words is a user-friendly version of GPS. We've taken GPS coordinates and we turn them into 3 simple words. So what we've done is we've divided the world up into 57 trillion 3 meter by 3 meter squares, and then we've given each one of those squares a unique 3-word identifier, a 3-word code, or what we call a 3-word address. So that is everywhere from Mongolia to the middle of the UK. Every single part of the planet has got a unique way to describe it. We've done it in 45 different languages. We just launched our Welsh version. And again, we've covered the entire planet. And we've done things like we've put shorter, more memorable words in places that speak those languages, so they're easier to use. And then we've put similar sounding words very, very far apart. So if you make a slight error, it's very, very obvious. We're not a navigation system, we're a point reference system. So table chair lamp is in Australia, table chair damp is in America. So if you make a slight error, the system says, I think you meant table chair damp because you're a few miles away. So that's the system. And we have a free app and a free website. I'll pop in the website into chat so you can go and have a little look, maybe type in the address of your home and then move around to see if you can find an appropriate 3-word address. We use Google geocoding to identify what address you type in, and then it goes over to our system. So anybody can use this app for free, or the website for free. We've been lucky in that we've much of last summer and actually this summer as well, we spent at the top of both App Store charts. But because our stuff is free, that doesn't make us any money. Actually, the way that we make money is by selling our code to businesses. So you can now get into a Mercedes-Benz car and say 3 words and it knows exactly where you want to go, or a Tata or Ford. If you want to hail a cab in the Middle East, you can use Kareem, which will accept a 3-word address for destination as well. And people like Lonely Planet and many others are using the system. So it's fairly successful in that way. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the way that we market this, because people have got an incredibly ingrained opinion of addresses. One, they think the world is well addressed. And two, they believe that current street addressing is adequate, and that somehow it's a very rational and hierarchical system, which is not. So we've got quite a lot of behaviour to change. And the way that we do this, you read this like a clock, is we do B2B to C. So we pitch our solution to businesses, we help them integrate, and then we work with those businesses at 6 o'clock on the chart to tell their customers about us. And those customers tell each other about What3Words, and it keeps going around. Now, what we started to do is also to inject consumers into that. So in the bottom left-hand corner of this chart, we do broad ad campaigns to generate users that then businesses see and integrate because of. Because one of the first questions that actually both investors and businesses ask is, how many users have you got? And we say, no, we're a B2B play. And they go, okay, cool, yeah, I get that. How many users have you got? So you kind of go around in this circle. So this is the model that we're currently operating. I guess here's a few things that we've learned about how we compete with street addressing, with GPS coordinates, and with some of the other systems out there. And I'll run through a couple of examples. The first one is DIY Plus. So the marketing team at What3Words is about 35 people. We're 110 people in the company. So quite a large proportion of employees are marketing. And we have everything from designers to copywriters to filmmakers, editors, account managers, media planners, buyers, PR team. We basically have a pretty full service agency. And then we outsource certain things either to agencies or to freelancers. But the majority of things that we do, we do in-house with a select few exceptions. And that allows us just to be super fast and very responsive, but also to control the narrative a lot. The second thing that we focus on is holding out for a hero. Now, we spent a lot of time talking to the wrong people to sell our product. And if you look right down at the bottom here, the target audience, we identified that there are people who see the value of this immediately, and it instantly sparks a number of ideas and conversations. And we've termed those as ambitious innovators. And it's really obvious when you start talking to them. We're a startup. We don't have time to waste trying to convince the naysayers. We have to go with where there's opportunity. So ambitious innovators became our target, and that changed the entirety about how we went to market and the publications that we targeted from a PR point of view, the award ceremonies that we entered, the stages that we got to speak on. So all of this kind of changed our marketing approach. And this is our first ambitious innovator, our first champion in the UK police forces, and he started using What3Words for fly tipping. As of, I think, last week, we've now up to 85% of the emergency services in the UK are now using What3Words, but it started with Nick from Bedfordshire, which goes on to my next point, which is kind of creating serendipity. And now this is incredibly difficult to measure. You're never quite sure whether it's going to work or not, but we do work quite hard at trying to do this. So Nick, our chap from Bedfordshire, was watching TV. Now, I'd spent a bit of time talking to some scriptwriters in LA, and investing a bit of time, never knowing whether it would come off or not. But basically what they wanted to do was build us into NCIS Los Angeles, the TV show. So one of the team gets kidnapped. She leaves 3 seemingly random words as clues. They can't work out what it is. One of the team members goes, "That's what 3 words." They type it into our map. They find out she's been held in a prison in Thailand. They send in the choppers. There's guns and a tiger. It's an epic show. I would recommend it. And our friend Nick happened to be watching this, and that sparked the idea that actually it could be really, really useful for police services. And it kind of went from there. And we've seen that occur from seemingly the smallest thing. So this is a tourism guide to a place in Ireland, and we worked with them to address every single listing in the tourism guide, thinking it would be a great example. Actually, what happened was when Mercedes-Benz were board meeting to decide whether to put What3Words in the car or not, someone said, "Has anybody heard of this company?" And a chap who had just got back from holiday on Ireland pulled out the magazine and said, "Yes, I've got this magazine. These guys are a thing." So you're never entirely sure what's going to work and what's not going to. But we do a lot of this that sometimes succeeds and sometimes not. So there's a Hollywood movie out there that they've built us into the storyline as well, which is super interesting. So we do some of that, and then we engineer some of that. Our postcodes in Ireland are a nightmare. They do have a system called air codes, which they recently introduced, and it took 16 years to build, and 16 years to build and 28 million euros to make, which is annoying. They should have chatted to us. This is a neon sign, and it's in a bar in Shanghai. And we made the sign and we gave it to the bar, and they were very thankful and displayed it just on the stage. It happened to be a bar that all of the auto execs in China go to drink on a Friday night. So we're trying to engineer the kind of What3Words in strange, seemingly disconnected ways to reach our audience. Okay, so the next one is don't make me work. Don't make me think, don't make me work. So these are some of the toolkits that we put together for our partners. So a lot of the marketing of What3Words is about telling potential partners about us. And then a lot of it is actually about making assets for those partners. So, we shot that, did that shoot for Mercedes. We wrote the copy for their website. We actually did the PR for the launch ourselves. And in the past year or so, the team has made adverts for Mercedes, Ford, Tata, Lonely Planet, Airbnb. We actually got shortlisted at a D&AD and at Cannes for the work we did on Airbnb, which is quite mind-blowing because we're an in-house agency for a tech company. But the point is that, yes, we could control the narrative and we could give them the assets, and it was far more cost effective for me to invest my time and effort to make a piece of content and for them to push that out against their channels. We just removed all the barriers to integration and all of the issues they might have had. And so that's started to kind of snowball, and now they're just making the ads themselves. And it's everything from, I think this is the local police station who are Cambridgeshire Police, who are pushing out these sorts of pieces.
If you find yourself in trouble, or you find someone else who's in trouble and you don't know where you are, you can use this app, What3Words. You can tell the emergency services exactly where you are.
I don't know how that
if you
sound. just a few more. Ready, fire, aim is actually one of our company values. We have others like concise, all in, own the idea, but ready, fire, aim is a key one for us, and that's to get something pretty good, get it into market as quick as possible, and then kind of course correct whilst you're out there. This is just an example of this that happened this week. Actually, I've been chatting to the guys at Brewdog, the CEO at Brewdog, who they've just taken on a lot of investment, and they are giving every person that has invested in Brewdog a tree in a forest, and they are using What3Words to address that tree so the person knows where it is. So I worked on that over the weekend with him, and then had an idea on Monday morning, and I sent him this, and I said, look, actually we can create a PDF. People can type in the 3-word address of their tree, print it out and put it on their wall, or save it as wallpaper on their computer or whatever. And I don't know if there are any designers in the room, apologies, because I comped this together. There's lines all over it. I think it in PowerPoint and screen grabbed it and whacked. I could have briefed it in, and I could have, turned it into a big presentation with the reason why and whatever. But I just bashed it into an email and pinged it over to him. I didn't hear anything from him. And then I noticed on Twitter that the CEO had actually pushed it out on Twitter saying, we are going to be sending people a print at home tree certificate showing the exact location, and he even used the really shoddy image. He still hasn't replied to my email, but that sort of, you've just got to keep momentum and keep kind of moving fast. And we do that on everything. We do that on our product development, on our marketing and advertising, and also on our business development as well. And that kind of connects into our 80-20 rule, which is we spend 80% of our time and budget working on things that we know work well. LinkedIn advertising, Facebook advertising, events, that sort of stuff. And then we spend 20% of our time looking at kind of measurable innovation, things that might not work, but we want to give them a go. So we recently did a TV ad, which I'll show in a sec. And we developed the TV ad, and we thought, I'll tell you what, we're going to put it out to see how it affects the cost per download of the What3Words app, and then iterated it. First one went out, cost about £2.34 to drive a download. By the time we finished, we got it down to 82p. And there are a variety of other factors that we put into that. But then that became our TV ad. So we were constantly testing that. Let's try this, let's try that. And it goes across everything. So our biggest 3-word address search last year was for Fear Movie Lions, which happens to be the precise spot in Stone Brewing's a beer brewery, where this particular beer comes off the production line. It's got a whole description of What3Words on the back, so people were turning it over. So we spent a bit of time working with them, and that was all done for free. But now we're up to our 4th beer. We've got 1 in Australia and 2 in the UK, because we tried it, it worked, and it worked pretty well. I'm just going to nip back to this slide, because Kelly's presentation kind of reminded me about this. We recently redid our identity, and we changed it quite considerably. And the idea behind the 3 slashes, obviously it represents words, but we designed it in this particular way, and it mimics a W. We designed it in this particular way so it could be written really easily by hand, but it could also be typed. And we wanted to try and create a hashtag for location. And we kind of dreamed that this might happen. And then it did last year, where a guy is reporting a leak. And all he did was type in 3 slashes, word.word.word. And the company that he sent it to immediately recognized that as our logo, our identity, and the fact that it was a What3Words address. So we're designing for longevity and designing for the masses. Okay, so the final point, this syncs with the kind of brand storytelling aspect, is privatizing. I don't kind of mean that literally, but trying to talk about the benefits that What3Words has for people. We don't talk about, the accuracy. We don't talk about satellites. We don't talk about numbers. What we do is we talk about the benefits that What3Words has. So top left-hand corner there, we've got a professional photographer, who's a guy called Phil, who uses What3Words to remember the specific places that he's taking shots. So either he can return and take them in better light, or he can just share them with other people. So we always talk about the stories of the people that we've affected, both from an everyday as well as an emergency point of view. So we have a database of the voices of the lives that we've affected, and we use that in community outreach as well as PR, and we've got some brilliant headlines over the years. So I guess the last thing to do is to show kind of how that wraps up, which is our latest campaign, which has just been out on Channel 4. Interestingly, Channel 4, we took investment from them, and it was an equity for airtime investment, which was a really neat way of doing it. I hope they spent more than 3 minutes 44 seconds on our deck, but either way, we got the money.
999, where's the emergency?
I'm on the north shore of Loch Eric. I've nearly capsized a couple of times. There's no road access.
I'm Jason, and the What3Words app saved my life. I was out on the loch alone, and I got into trouble.
Really, really, really cold.
I called 999 and used the What3Words app to find the location. What3Words has divided the world into 3-meter squares, and given each square a unique combination of 3 words. The location was courage, nicer, fountain. Then I lost the signal. Seeing the helicopter was a massive relief. 999 knew exactly where to find me.
Filming that in lockdown was a test. Someone's asked a couple of questions. So the words, what we have is a word list of 40,000 words. If for English, because 40,000 times 40,000 times 40,000 gives you 64 trillion unique combinations. And then we have an algorithm that distributes those words according to a variety of parameters, including the kind of distributing similar sounding word combinations in different parts of the world, and populations and things like that. And then they're fixed. So you can't actually change the words at all, and it's done like that for a number of reasons. 1, error detection, and 2, our system works offline. You don't need a data connection, you don't need a cellular connection. All you need is GPS coordinates, and your phone has everything it needs on it. Can you book words? No. So as I said, it's all done, but people have found interesting combinations of words. So Vorsprung durch Technik, which is Audi's, I probably murdered the German, it's Audi's tagline. They found that in the rainforest just outside of Sao Paulo. So they actually got in one of their monster Q7 trucks, and they created a whole film about how, the journey to Vorsprung durch Technik. And then I found Never Stop Exploring, and I was like, go on, please be in Alaska somewhere epic. It's actually in Wigan, which is slightly frustrating. I assume you're all laughing because I can't hear anybody. Are there any other questions? So that's it. Those are the 7 things that we try and apply on a regular basis to pretty much everything that we do.